Hey guys, this is Simeon. This is Pro Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on the 2nd of December 2020 to talk about everything that went down tonight on both, no, not on both, just on AEW Dynamite, because AEW Dynamite to me tonight was such a good show that it kept most of my attention to where I couldn't watch both Dynamite and NXT like I normally do. So the NXT review will be up tomorrow, hopefully first thing in the morning. But right now, tonight, we are going to be talking about AEW Dynamite as winter has arrived. With that, I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Remember, if you are here on Twitch, all the money we do make off of Twitch is going to go back to help families in need that have been displaced by the Creek Fire here in Central California. Remember, you can donate by hitting that button down below. You can also hit the Twitch bit donate button, or you can subscribe to the channel one of two different ways, either with a tiered subscription or with Amazon Prime, because if you have Amazon Prime, you also have Prime Gaming, and with Prime Gaming, you get one free subscription to any Twitch channel that you want to watch, you want to support, and we'd greatly appreciate it if you support us here at Pro Wrestling Unlimited. But with that, we had a great episode of AEW Dynamite tonight. It didn't disappoint. I think overall, there was only one thing on the entire show I didn't like. And that's saying something. And it was just a quick backstage segment. So that really is saying something for this show here tonight. With that, just let me get my notes up here. They froze. Dang Google Chrome. Like I always say, dang Google Chrome. But with that, here we go. Show kicked off with the... Oh, hold on. My switcher's messing up. I don't want to switch screens. There we go. Okay. Technology is just not working properly. But with that, the show kicked off with a special Winter is Coming intro with unique branding that focused on Moxley versus Omega. We then started the night with the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal. Basically, everybody... And this is weird. I didn't like how this match started. Everyone starts outside the ring. Then you got to jump in the ring and hope you don't get disqualified. But you don't have to get in the ring immediately, as we saw with Shawn Spears. And it's like... So why didn't Shawn Spears just wait till there was 3 guys left or 1 guy left, jump in and go, I was never disqualified or eliminated? You know, that just didn't make sense to me that they start outside the ring, then got to jump in the ring. But the referees didn't really do anything as far as trying to get Spears into the ring. Like, one ref was kind of just like, hey, you need to get in the ring. Hey, you need to get in the ring. But didn't really enforce it, to be 100% completely honest. And so that I didn't like as far as this match goes. It was just weird that they're allowing guys to do that. But with that, basically it's your normal pro wrestling battle royal. Not much really happened in the middle of the match. At one point, Matt Hardy eliminated Isaiah Cassidy. John Silver and Alex Reynolds hit combination offense on Serpentico and Hangman. Hangman took the advantage to eliminate Serpentico. The 3 celebrated together and eliminated Luther, continuing the Page Dark Order stuff. Going forward, Shawn Spears eliminated Matt Sydal with a nasty throw onto the ramp. Sky took advantage of that and eliminated Spears. Spears talked things over with Tully Blanchard, who handed him the steel slug. Spears punched Sky with it, and Wardlow eliminated him. I don't know what they're doing with Scorpio Sky and Spears, because last night on Dark, they made it seem like Scorpio Sky was going to join Spears and Tully. So I have no clue what's going on with these guys. Also, I do want to say thank you to Rosario1983 on Twitch for subscribing with Tier 1 for 5 months in a row now. Really do appreciate that. Thank you for your Tier 1 subscription for 5 months in a row. Helping out them children. Helping out them families. Most specifically, children is what we're trying to help out as far as families that have been displaced from that fire as we lead into Christmas. Going forward, Reynolds tried to skin the cat, but Hardy threw Silver into him and eliminated him. Hardy and Mark Quinn worked together to eliminate Silver, which got a loud negative reaction from the crowd. They booed when John Silver got eliminated. They then almost eliminated Page, but Dark Order caught Page before he could fall. Page fired back in with a buckshot lariat and eliminated Hardy. No, Hardy eliminated Page. Orange Cassidy would then eliminate Kip Sabian. Sabian pulled Cassidy out of the ring under the ropes, and Miro left the ring to continue the beatdown back in the ring. Back in the ring, Miro then got back in and ran wild on everybody and eliminated Lee Johnson. He then eliminated Hardy and Quinn. This followed up by eliminating Janela, and Miro went on a tear here to where you thought he was going to make it to the finals. Miro, Jungle Boy, and 3 Inner Circle members, MJF, Sammy Guevara, and Wardlow, were the remaining, I want to say 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. The Inner Circle beat down Jungle Boy, but Miro broke it up and had a face-off with Wardlow. Miro got the better of it, but MJF and Guevara got involved, allowing Wardlow to flatten him with a lariat. The 3 then eliminated Miro, and it was only those 3 and Jungle Boy left. Jungle Boy and Guevara had a cool exchange on the apron. They both hopped up top, but MJF eliminated both of them, making sure to only shove down Jungle Boy. MJF and Wardlow thought that they had won it. They were the final 2. They were going to face off next week. But then Orange Cassidy was still laid out on the floor. Wardlow brought him into the ring to eliminate him, but Cassidy escaped and hit an orange punch on both, allowing him to eliminate Wardlow. Best Friends then came down to celebrate with Orange Cassidy. Miro and Sabian reemerged and had to be held back by officials. So next week, the ring will be on the line when MJF faces Orange Cassidy in a singles match. The winner gets to leave with a dang diamond ring. Will it be Orange Cassidy? Will MJF retain it? I don't know. It's an interesting one, because a babyface to have the ring, to me, doesn't make much sense. So maybe MJF beats Orange Cassidy next week. Speaking of MJF, the Inner Circle was in action. Well, Jericho, that is, was in action next against Frankie Kazarian. Kazarian gained the advantage early on with a slingshot strike. He followed up the cradle for a 2. Jericho poked Kazarian in the eye and laid in some chops. Kazarian landed a slingshot leg drop on the floor. He avoided an attack from Hager, but Jericho hit a lung blower upon re-entry. Back from a commercial break, Kazarian was sent back to the floor. Santana and Ortiz attacked while the referee was distracted. Jericho kept up the beatdown until Kazarian stopped a diving axe handle with a gut punch. A backslide from Kazarian, then got a 2 before missing a drop kick. Jericho went for a lion salt, but Kazarian rolled away just in time and hit his own springboard leg drop for a near fall. Kazarian perched Jericho on the top rope and landed an avalanche flux capacitor for a good-looking near fall. Jericho then fought out of an unprettier and went for a code breaker, but Kazarian turned it into a Walls of Jericho of his own. Jericho resisted tapping out just long enough for MJF to run down with a towel, echoing his relationship with Cody. Sammy Guevara pulled the towel out of his hand, though. Kazarian and Jericho exchanged cradles until Jericho landed the Judas effect out of nowhere to pick up the victory on Frankie Kazarian. So, after the match, Inner Circle were about to celebrate, but Guevara shoves MJF. They got heated, and Jericho got pissed. He grabbed a mic, told everyone to shut up and knock it off. He said that the group has 1 week to decide. Do we want to work together as a unit, or are we breaking up all together forever? Basically, he said he will have an ultimatum next week on Dynamite. And then the one segment I really didn't like here was the Young Bucks segment. Young Bucks were being interviewed by Alex Marvez, and Nick Jackson just goes, "Hey, remember that time when we super kicked you right here?" And I'm like, what? What does this have to do with anything? Yeah, okay, whatever. They said that, no, Alex Marvez then asked them about their upcoming match with TH2, the Hybrid 2. They said if TH2 can beat them next week, then maybe they'll give them a shot at the tag titles since they are not ranked high enough to get a shot. The Acclaimed then appeared, making their first appearance on Dynamite. Came Max Caster, who rapped about the Bucks' new book, basically made a bunch of penis jokes saying it looks like you guys are looking at each other's dongs, but you can't tell if you got a big dong because in your trunks we see no bulge. It was very dumb. He then told them to watch their backs. TH2 attacked him from behind, and SCU tried to make the save as everybody ran off. Okay. Cool. It set up something for next week, but it didn't hit for me. And especially the match, the Nick Jackson thing at the beginning, the way he was just like, hey, remember when we super kicked you last time? Right here. I'm like, you trying to be a stoner? With women's action, as Britt Baker took on Layla Hirsch. They really put over Layla Hirsch big on commentary here, as far as saying she's a legit wrestler, an amateur wrestler, one of the best wrestlers for her age group back in New Jersey. She was, back in like the early 2000s and whatnot. They said that she's from Russia but was adopted by Americans. And yeah, they really, really put her over huge here. So early on, Baker wanted a knuckle lock, but Hirsch took her down with a Fujiwara armbar. So Baker fought to reach the ropes. Hirsch out-wrestled Baker early on. She went for a cross-arm breaker, but Baker fought out and landed a thrust kick. Thrust kick and a DDT. After a break, Hirsch made a comeback with forearms and a German suplex. Baker rolled to the outside and talked things over with Rebel, who Baker used to get the brunt of Hirsch's dive that came next. Baker hit a sling blade on the floor. Back in the ring, Hirsch hit a bicycle knee, and went for a cross-arm breaker. Baker fought out. Hirsch then caught her with a thrust kick and landed another bicycle knee. Hirsch climbed the ropes, but Rebel distracted her and brought Baker just enough time for her to send Hirsch off the top rope. The mandible claw was then follow for the submission victory. So with that, Britt Baker does defeat Layla Hirsch, and then almost immediately, out would come Thunder Rosa. She would attack Baker. They brawled until officials ran out to separate the two. Rebel landed a cheap shot on Rosa, so Hirsch took her out with a suplex. Rosa broke free and attacked again. Agents, including Jerry Lynn and BJ Whitmer, had to break this all up, so I assume we're getting a tag match. Rebel and Baker, Hirsch, and Rosa. Next up, a video package recap the feud between Team Taz, Cody, and Darby Allin. And all this was a setup for something to come next, because winter has arrived. So Team Taz attacked before the bell, but Rhodes and Allin took control before a commercial. After that commercial, Hobbs still hadn't tagged into the match. And Jim Ross called him Will Hobbs, and then immediately goes, Powerhouse Hobbs. And then later when he said it, he goes, Powerhouse Hobbs. Like he was told on that headset, hey, we changed his name, just remember. Cody and Starks exchanged strikes. Allin tagged in, but Starks slapped him, so Allin gave chase. Starks escaped to the outside, and Allin was laid out by Hobbs and tossed into the barricade. Hobbs finally tagged in and hit a delayed vertical suplex. Team Taz isolated Allin, making frequent tags and beating him down with double team maneuvers on their side of the ring. Allin and Starks then bumped heads at one point, but Hobbs cut off Allin's attempt at a tag. Hobbs locked on a bear hug and shook Allin all around as Team Taz resumed their attack. Allin finally reached Cody for the tag, and he ran wild with his signature offense. Taz then jumped on the apron, allowing Starks to gouge the eyes of Cody. Cody landed his drop-down right hand and a cutter before taking out Hobbs with a dive. Allin made a blind tag and hit a coffin drop on Ricky Starks to pick up the victory. Hobbs then attacked Allin after the match, but Arn ran in to break it up. What's Arn going to do? That's my question. What was Arn thinking here? Team Taz then beat him down with a numbers advantage until Dustin would run out to dispatch Team Taz, and then Brian Cage would run out and lay out Dustin with an F5. Starks and Cage then tried to hold up Cody to allow Hobbs to hit him with the FTW belt when the lights would go out. Sting would then appear. Yes, Sting, former WCW World Champion, would appear after his name showed up on the big screen. Snow fell within Daly's place, or should I say Soap Suds. Anyways, Snow fell within Daly's place as Sting made his way down to the ring, and Team Taz disappeared. Sting got in Arn's face, Sting got in Cody's face. Sting got in Dustin's face. Sting got in Darby's face. He then left, and that was it. Sting has arrived in AEW. After the commercial break, we came back and they informed us that Sting has officially signed a multi-year contract with All Elite Wrestling. And I want to read you a little bit of the press release that they sent us over. Basically, right when this segment ended, I have the press release right here. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it basically says, the Icon Sting makes debut on AEW Dynamite Winter is Coming episode on TNT. Winter is Coming was already guaranteed to be the biggest episode of Dynamite yet, but on a night packed with tremendous clashes, the debut of wrestling legend Sting took the world by surprise. Widely regarded as one of the greatest professional wrestlers ever, Sting's jaw-dropping appearance sent electricity through the crowd at Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida, and throughout the wrestling world when he stepped into the ring. We got a quote from Tony Khan here as well. He said, the surprise introduction of Sting was a great way to celebrate our biggest episode of Dynamite yet. When AEW launched, I was ecstatic to bring wrestling back to TNT after a very long absence. Sting defeated the legendary Ric Flair in the final wrestling match to be shown on TNT for more than 18 years until the debut of Dynamite in 2019. Now, almost 2 decades later, it's such a thrill to welcome Sting to AEW and bring him back to TNT. Again, they did state that Sting has signed a full-time, multi-year deal with All Elite Wrestling, but don't get that twisted. Sting signing a full-time deal is not going to mean that he's going to be a full-time wrestler on the roster. Don't get that twisted. I think maybe he has 1 or 2 matches, and that's going to be it. The guy shouldn't even get cleared anyways. I mean, WWE wouldn't clear him. Just saying. But cool to see Sting. And I was thinking about this afterwards, and I go, I'm shocked it took this long before we actually saw Sting in AEW, to be completely honest. But we've got him. They said that he's going to speak next week for the first time in All Elite Wrestling, and we'll see what the Icon has to say. Crowd went nuts when he came out, though. Like when his name just came up on the screen and said, Sting. Crowd went bananas. Speaking of next week, a number of things was announced for next week's show. Dustin Rhodes versus Preston Vance, 10 of the Dark Order. FTR will be taking on a team that Jim Ross told us Tony Khan has a lot of faith in. The Varsity Blondes. Excuse me. The Varsity Blondes, Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr. And if you don't get the name, it's a playoff of Pillman's dad's old tag team with Steve Austin, the Hollywood Blondes. Again, another WCW thing that AEW is kind of copying. We already know that Young Bucks will take on the Hybrid 2. Lance Archer and the Lucha Bros will be taking on Eddie Kingston, the Butcher, and the Blade, which is very interesting. Lance Archer here filling in for Pac, I guess you could say. Abaddon's going to be in action, and of course, Sting will speak for the first time. So speaking of Abaddon, he went to the back to talk about the women's champion, or talk with the women's champion, Hikaru Shida. This was another awkward segment I didn't like. She was interviewed by Alex Marvez, and she talked about the confrontation from Abaddon. And we hear like some noise in the background, like clanking metal. And she goes, oh, can we start this over? And Alex Marvez goes, unfortunately we can't. We're on live TV. And she goes, oh, okay, well, then I gotta go. And just left. I don't know if she saw Abaddon and was scared. I don't know what happened here. But very weird, and I really didn't like it. So then we get a earlier today promo from Jon Moxley talking about his match tonight with Omega. He says he's excited about how far he and AEW have come. Moxley and Omega have been on a collision course their whole lives and are regarded as the 2 best wrestlers in the world. The stakes couldn't be any higher as we move in to our main event. Main event of the night was Kenny Omega challenging Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship, and Impact Wrestling Executive Vice President Don Callis was on commentary. We also saw Don Callis on commentary for Omega's match back at Full Gear as well. So I thought this match was great, phenomenal. The Callis stuff did feel a little overbooked, but it might make more sense next week as far as where this is leading to. But again, they said this is the biggest match in Dynamite history, and it probably was the best match I've ever seen on Dynamite, if not in all of AEW. This may be my favorite AEW match of all time. But I say maybe because the finish was kind of like, We'll see where it leads to. So Moxley immediately went for a rear naked choke as the bell rang. This forced Omega to escape to the ropes. They performed chain wrestling until Moxley forced the break with a takedown. Moxley downed Omega with a shoulder tackle and applied a side headlock. Omega forced Moxley into the corner and laid in some chops. Moxley fired back with a forearm and a corner clothesline. Omega took Moxley down with a jumping Hurricane Rana, sending Moxley to the outside. He went for a Terminator dive, and the crowd knew it was coming, and so they did it. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. But well, Moxley was able to sidestep it. And I love the little subtlety on commentary where they go, well, everyone knows what that Terminator dive is. Moxley was able to I guess you could say, evade it because he knew it was coming, because Omega does it so often, and the crowd gets into it and just telegraphs it. But Moxley then hit him with a black hole slam. An apron clothesline sent Omega to the floor. The two then brawled until Moxley landed a suplex. They ended up behind the barricade and continued to brawl through the commercial break. Upon re-entering the ring, Omega surprised Moxley with a dragon screw through the ropes. He followed this up by draping Moxley's left knee onto the barricade. Back in the ring, Omega hit the Kataru Crusher for a 2 before resuming his target on Moxley's knee. After a commercial break, Omega landed a Terminator Tope con Hilo. Moxley cut off a springboard attempt, though, and hit a paradigm shift. Moxley then went for a cover, but instead, he grabbed some chairs. He should have gone for that damn cover. So he puts a chair in the middle of the ring, and he sits down in it, but then he sets up another chair and tells Omega, take a seat. As Omega sits down in the chair, he then says, take a hit. Take your shot. Hit me. Hit me. He still thinks that Omega is the one that attacked him a few weeks ago. They traded strikes until Moxley looked to get the upper hand, and, well, he got it with the right hand. Omega fired back with a V-trigger and a 2 after a Snapdragon suplex. He went for another V-trigger, which Moxley avoided, though. He hit a German suplex, and Omega hit a standing knee strike. Moxley then downed his opponent with a lariat. He then hit a paradigm shift, Moxley that is, and got a 2 off of it. Moxley went for a suicide dive, but Omega cut him off with a midair V-trigger. Omega landed a missile drop kick and a V-trigger to back Moxley's head right into to the back of Moxley's head, and then hit a Tiger Driver 98 for a 2. Omega laid in more knee strikes, and Moxley caught one of them, though. But he was met with another V-trigger. Omega fought out of a one-winged angel attempt. No, Moxley fought out of a one-winged angel attempt, but then Omega fought out of a paradigm shift and hit an Okada. I wrote that wrong. I put Oscada. Okada drop kick, and then did the Rainmaker pose. Omega went for another one-winged angel before switching it up and nailing I think they called it a Kratos Wrath for a really good near fall. Omega went back to the top, but Moxley popped up and went on the attack. Out on the floor, Moxley sent Omega into a ringside heater with the paradigm shift as the officials called for medical help. Don Callis then ran down to check on Kenny Omega. And Moxley kept saying, don't touch him. You better not touch him. Like it seemed like Moxley was under the impression that if they touched him, the ref can call the match off. And he wanted this match to actually have a finish. So, Moxley eventually grabs Omega and throws him into the ring, and it looks like Don Callis was running back up to the announce desk, but instead, he went over to the timekeeper's table and grabbed a microphone. He had this microphone in hand and jumped up on the apron. While on the apron, this distracted Moxley. Moxley went over to Callis and punched him in the face, knocking Callis down, but as Callis fell down, he slid the microphone over to Omega. Moxley went to grab Omega, but Omega hit him square right here, middle of the forehead, with the damn microphone. Moxley was then busted open. Omega nailed multiple V-triggers and a one-winged angel to pick up the victory and become the brand new AEW World Champion. After the match, Omega and Callis celebrated with the championship and immediately ran to the back. All the backstage crew, wrestlers, everybody were flabbergasted on what happened, but the one thing that was off about all this was Tony Khan. They showed Tony Khan, and on commentary, they let us know, oh, Tony Khan's yelling at Omega for this. But Tony's got this big old smile on his face like, hey, that went well. We did it. Like, Tony. Alex Marvez caught up with the two and asked them what was going on. Callis said that they can talk, and we'll find out all about this next Tuesday on Access TV. Yes, AEW is working with Impact Wrestling, and it looks like the Impact World Champion Jon Moxley. No, not Jon Moxley anymore. Not the Impact World Champion. I'm all kinds of flustered right now, but the new AEW World Champion, Kenny Omega, will be on next week's Impact on Access TV, which airs on Tuesdays. And right after the show went off the air, Impact sent out a tweet that said Tuesdays are the new Wednesdays. So I don't know where this is leading to, but whatever airs next week has already been filmed, because I believe Impact is filmed all the way up till their next pay-per-view Hard to Kill in January. But then Eddie Kingston briefly ran out to the commentary desk to taunt Moxley and say, he wants Archer now. And that was it. That was a weird way to end the show with Kingston running out there. Did Kingston attack Moxley a couple weeks ago? Was it Omega? I don't know. But with that, guys, excuse me, it was take a drink here. My mouth is really dry, causing me to cough a lot. Sorry about that. But that was AEW Dynamite. I thought the show was really, really, really good. And now it looks like we've got a working relationship with Impact and AEW. But remember, if you want to be part of tonight's show, you can do so by texting in to 510-906-1341. Again, that number is 510-906-1341, as we do have a number of text messages here. Person says, Sting in AEW is awesome for the business. There's a lot of young talent there that he can help. Also, as a fan of him, it's great to see one of my childhood heroes back where he belongs in a ring. Okay, but here's the thing. Sting almost was paralyzed in his last match. Doctors told him that he was lucky he wasn't paralyzed. So if he gets cleared to wrestle in AEW, and I'm not knocking AEW here, I don't know if that's smart. I mean, WWE put him on that no contact list and said, we will not clear you. So, and Sting's what, 55? How old is Sting? Sting is, let's see, Sting is, how old is old Steve Borden? 61. Oh, he's way older than I thought he was. So he was like 66 when he got hurt, when he had that match with Rollins. But we'll see. We've got another text message here. This one states, I know you're doing NXT tomorrow, but I was curious, do you think the two ghost faces behind Gargano are the former Rascals? I have no clue. I honestly don't know who they could be, because whoever's under the mask right now may not even be who it's going to be in the end. Because who was under the mask the first time was not Indy Hartwell. So we'll see. Got another text message here asking if I think Sting will wrestle in AEW. I think he'll have at least one match. I don't think he should. And if he does, I hope it's like a tag match with Cody or something. And this text message here does say, is Kenny Omega a heel now? Oh, fuck yes he is. He's not using that microphone and then running out of the building like that if he's not. This was the full turn of the cleaner. Kenny is now a full-fledged heel in All Elite Wrestling. But with that, guys, that's going to do it for tonight's AEW Dynamite review. I want to say thank you for joining me here on either twitch.tv/PW Unlimited or youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Remember, the NXT review will be up tomorrow morning on youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited. So keep an eye out for that one. And we'll be back here live on Twitch with the SmackDown review coming up on Friday. But I may be up before that playing some games and stuff. So just make sure you follow us here on Twitch. And that way you know when we do go live next time. You can also follow us on other social media platforms like facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD. Follow us on Instagram by searching for Pro Wrestling Unlimited. And follow us on Twitch at PW Unlimited. But with that, guys, have a great night, and I will see you next time. All right, for you guys still here on Twitch, let's